you're listening to episode number 149 of the Keto Diet Podcast, and today we're chatting about my absolute complete mental breakdown that I had a little while ago. And I really wanted to share this with you guys because I really feel and believe very strongly that there is no shame in struggling with your mental health and having a complete breakdown. And I think a lot of lessons can be learned when we have those breakdowns and really understanding what our bodies need and what we need in order to move forward. So we're going to be chatting all about self-care practices and things like that. And because we're talking about keto support and those self-care practices that help you be kinder towards yourself and more proactive about your mental health, if you're interested in delving a little bit deeper, you can check out my 21-day whole keto challenge over at healthfulpursuit.com/whole. And if you have questions about today's content, you can go to healthfulpursuit.com/contact and ask me. Also, you can check up on previous podcast episodes and notes from today's show by going to ketodietpodcast.com. I got one cool thing for you today, and that is that my upcoming paperback book, Keto for Women, launches on June 18th. And when you pre-order by going to ketoforwomen.com, you are entered to win one of 3 VIP memberships into my 12-week program, Happy Keto Body. Again, you can pre-order and find out details on how you can enter by going to ketoforwomen.com. Okay, let's do this thing. Welcome to the Keto Diet Podcast, the show all about keto for women so you can burn fat, balance your hormones, and heal your body. If you're new around these parts, I'm Leanne Vogel. You may know me as the international best-selling author of the Keto Diet and author of the upcoming paperback book, Keto for Women, where I'm showing you how to take charge of the imbalances that are ruling your life so you can discover your happy weight in 3 easy steps. Or you may know me as the nutritionist that likes dipping pork rinds in avocado oil mayo. I'm so glad you're here with me today, and thanks so much for listening. Sorry it's so early that we're doing this live. We are at a marine center in Fort Lauderdale, and the Wi-Fi here isn't awesome during the day because there are so many people that access the Wi-Fi during the day. So I thought, why not do a live nice and early in the morning? It's like 7-something Eastern time, and hopefully we won't get disconnected during our chat. So good morning, Tricia. Good morning, AC, Gracie, Flynn, Zozo, Terry, Pierre, hello, Keto Nay, Chris Cornell, Fit Girl Jess. Hey guys, good morning. Thanks for joining me live. If we get disconnected, I'm sorry. The Wi-Fi sucks, and I don't know if I'm going to get a phone plan while we're in the US because we're only going to be here hopefully for a couple of weeks maximum, maximum a month, max, probably not. So I think I'm just going to kick it with the Wi-Fi we have here at the marina. So if we drop the call, then I guess it wasn't meant to be today. Sounds like a nice show. What show? Good morning. Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Gracie Flynn. Hello. So Kevin is still sleeping. Otherwise, I would have an amazing talk planned for today because he always gives me great ideas about what to share with y'all, but I don't have anything planned. So I thought I would just give you a life update because a lot of you guys have been messaging me, asking me where we are, what's happening, and also I had a little mental breakdown last week, and so I thought it would be helpful to just talk about mental health today, which I should probably type in here. There we go, so you guys know what we're chatting about. Super creative. So I guess I'll just explain a little bit about what I've been going through because I know there are a lot of people out there that experience the same thing. And although we might live in certain different regions and things like that, I think many of you could probably relate to this. And that's why I've always been quite open with my life on the internet, or rather to the internet with you guys, because I think the most beautiful thing that we can experience as humans is connection with each other. And unfortunately, because of today's day and age, we can't literally connect with everyone we meet on the internet, but the internet gives us such an amazing way to connect with each other. And in order to connect with each other, we need to be open and honest honest, not only with other people, but also with ourselves. And being vulnerable can be a really powerful thing.
Back to today's episode in a sec. ButcherBox features 100% grass-fed and finished heritage-bred pork and organic free-range chicken. ButcherBox sends you high-quality, health-promoting meats directly to your door on dry ice and free shipping anywhere in the lower 48. ButcherBox makes committing to quality protein sources less expensive and more available to everyone. Their prices are hard to beat, and it's challenging to find a higher quality product anywhere in the USA. I've been using ButcherBox for years and love the convenience of a package showing up just when I need it, and their ground sausage is an absolute dream. ButcherBox has put together a super special deal for all listeners of the show. Order your first box and get a special gift plus an additional $20 off. Now, this special gift is so epic that I can't even mention it on the episode today. So you'll have to go to butcherbox.com/keto diet to check out the deal plus get your $20 off your very first order. Again, that's butcherbox.com/keto diet to check out the deal plus get $20 off your first order. If you're unsure of the link, simply check out today's show notes for all the details. Okay, back to today's episode.
And so we lived in an RV before we lived in our boat. And moving into the RV was quite a journey because that can be a very different experience of moving from a big house to a little RV with about 200 square feet, just learning how to live with one another, with your partner, long term, like no breaks, and also with your dogs and figuring out internet and work and all those things. But the RV was not as fulfilling as we thought it would be. And we really sought after more disconnection from our daily lives. And that's when we had the idea of moving into a boat. And originally we had thought like a smaller boat, maybe a power boat, so we didn't have to learn not only how to live in a boat, how to man a boat, but not have to learn sailing because neither of us had ever sailed. And so we looked at more power boats, like trawler type boats, around 50 to 60 feet. They were a lot more expensive than we had planned, so a lot of them were just simply outside of our budget, which caused a little bit of stress, but we knew we'd find the right boat when it came along. And that's when we found Seamlessly. And she is a 60-foot sailing catamaran. And when we came on the boat, there was just something about her, the energy that just felt so good. And I couldn't shake the feeling, neither could Kevin. And we didn't worry too much about learning how to sail. And we didn't fully put enough attention to what it was going to be like just to simply live on a boat and exist on a boat, whether it be at a marina or on anchor. And so we moved in September. We worked with a bunch of sailing captains. We did a 1-week sailing, how to sail, but didn't really learn how to live on a boat. And so a couple of weeks later, we worked with another captain for a week, learning how to sail, doing a lot of sail drills and how to function on the sailboat. And then another session where we again learned more about sailing. And that took us to about January of practicing both with captains and on our own, to the point where on January 17th, we were able to exit out of the United States permanently and go to the Bahamas. And the plan was to be in the Bahamas for 6 months before sailing to Panama for hurricane season. And I mean, you see a lot of people do it, and I think the aspect here that I really, really, really want to focus on is just because somebody else does something doesn't mean that you should do it. You can do it with the skills you have right now, or that you need to push yourself to do it. And what I mean by that is social media, YouTube, the internet is a very powerful thing. Like I said, it can help us connect to one another, which is such a gift. But what it can also do is push us to compare our lives with other people that we perceive to have the same experience as us, the same mental space as us. And that can be really dangerous because when we go into a situation where we think, okay, well, so-and-so did it, so I can too. That can be a very empowering energy, or it can be a very deceiving energy that actually is unhealthy for us. And that's really what I found myself doing, is comparing our journey on a 60-foot sailing catamaran with zero boating experience. Like, I've been on power boats, 18-footers, water skiing on a lake in Alberta, Canada. That is not at all the same thing as living on a 60-foot catamaran on the ocean, anchored in the middle of nowhere. Totally different. And so I started comparing what other people were doing on their boats that we weren't doing, how people were able to go to marinas and we didn't have the skills yet, and all these little things. And I don't think I truly gave myself, in those moments of comparing myself to others, which we all do, I didn't take a step back and appreciate how much progress we'd made in such a short period of time. We moved into our boat in September, and by January we were out on our own, manning our boat by ourselves, going across the Gulf Stream, crossing a little bit of the Atlantic Ocean. Like, this was a big deal. Tying knots, dropping the dinghy into the water, and all these little things, understanding current and wind and planning for that. Like, these are huge pieces, but I think oftentimes we don't take a step back and look at how much progress we've made in our lives, or in that one dream or those multiple dreams that we're shooting for, that it can be quite detrimental, and we don't really see when it's happening. And I think when I had my complete breakdown last week, it was for multiple reasons. I had been holding on to this idea that we were going to stay in the Bahamas for 6 months. No problems were going to happen. Everything was going to be hunky-dory. We were going to be snorkeling all the time and meeting new people and making friends. And when that didn't happen, it was quite discouraging. And when we started dealing with, boats break constantly. There's always something broken on this boat. And it's not just like, a cupboard door fell off. It's like, our water maker's not working, and now we don't have any water, and we only have a day's worth of drinking water, and we're 4 days away from where we can get water. All those little stresses, and nobody really prepares you for life, whether you're living on a boat or living on a house or starting a new job or any of those things. Nobody really prepares you for what's going to happen. And when quote unquote bad things happen, I don't think we take a moment to just step back and give ourselves space for that, because it can be really stressful. When you've realized that you don't have enough water to last you for 4 days, and you need it to last for 4 days, that sticks with you. And so I think my mental breakdown was a little bit of that. It was also the feeling of powerlessness. And I don't think many of us experience this a lot in our lives, but if you have a situation, and I definitely see how different aspects of powerlessness can come up in our lives. As somebody who's experienced a lot of trauma, loss, and abuse, I can say that when you're in those experiences, you definitely feel powerless. Like, there's nothing you can do, and there's no steps you can take. There's nothing you can do to get your power back, or at least that's how you feel in the moment. And when we were moving our boat into a marina for the first time on our own, the wind was quite heavy. It was pushing us into other boats. Kevin did an amazing job keeping the boat very perfect until we tried to get into our slip. And we ended up coasting over to a group of boats. One of their anchors got caught on our boat, and it was this whole thing, and I managed it well in the moment. Kevin even said, you did so well in that moment. You did everything right. As soon as we got back into a safe place, I just lost it, because it was the first time in a very long time since I had experienced a massive amount of abuse when I was younger, that I felt completely powerless. Like, I could not do anything. The wind was pushing us into other boats, and there was nothing I could do about it. And in my mind, I was seeing all this stuff completely ruining, our boat getting wrecked, all these bad things happening, and I couldn't do anything about it. And I think that is such a powerful thing, and something that I completely forgot about is that powerlessness, because as a complete control freak, I keep a tight grip on about everything in my life. And I've always been that way. And I think that's why I experienced an eating disorder, is because it was a way for me to meticulously control every little bit of something that I could control completely without any external circumstances.
Back to today's episode in a sec. Did you know it's possible to enjoy a glass or two of wine and stay in ketosis? Yeah, that's right. Dry Farm Wines is the first wine club that sources wines with zero sugar, so you can drink your wine and not compromise your ketones. Plus, Dry Farm Wines curates only the highest quality natural wines from small, sustainable family farms. Their wines are organic, dry farmed, and naturally low in alcohol with zero additives and zero carbs. Listeners of the podcast can add an extra bottle of wine to their first Dry Farm Wines order for just 1 penny. Sign up for your first case now by going to healthfulpursuit.com/wine. Unsure of the link? Simply check out the show notes of today's episode to get all the details. Okay, back to today's episode.
And so I think powerlessness and that feeling of not having any power in a situation can be really, really detrimental to our overall mental well-being. And if that situation continues for hours, a day, a couple days, weeks, a month, a year, if you're in a situation where you feel completely powerless, I mean, I experienced it for a couple of maybe an hour, and I completely lost it. And so I think it's really important, and maybe a little thing you can do today, if you're struggling with stuff and you're not really sure what's happening, or you can't get a handle on things and you feel that way, it might be good to ask yourself if there's a certain aspect of your life where you feel completely powerless. And then figure out, how can I get that power back? And after this completely huge mental breakdown, like, as soon as we anchored and everything was set, I couldn't fake it anymore. I couldn't fake the fact that we knew what we were doing. I felt completely, I've read everything from Brene Brown, yeah. I felt completely powerless and frustrated and sad, and I just couldn't hold in my sadness anymore. And I cried and I cried and I cried and I shaked a lot, and I couldn't talk. I cried for 2 days solid, just solid 2 days of crying. But then something beautiful happened. I got really calm and super focused, and I knew exactly how to get my power back, and also how to surrender in moments where I felt completely powerless and I felt like I didn't have a handle on things. Because no matter what happens, what we always have control over and where we can always take our power back is how we react to a situation and how we deal with our emotions. Keto Penny, I can't imagine how stressful that would be, and it would be a daily struggle even if you thought you were ready for it. Thank you for sharing your feelings with us. Of course, yeah. I think a lot of the times, and I'm a type A person, I'll bite off way more than I can chew, like beyond what I can chew. Like, I wrote 2 books back to back in a very short period of time because I just wanted to do it while also learning how to sail, while also living on a boat. And as soon as we moved in, I was writing the cookbook. And as soon as we started sailing on our own, I was writing Keto for Women. And so it's been a crazy 9 months, 10 months. I don't even know. I think it's 9. So I really just wanted to talk to you guys today about taking your power back and figuring out what you need to do in your life to make that difference. And it's going to be a slow and steady incline to get your power back. Like in the case of learning how to boat and living on a boat and coordinating all this and building a quote unquote new life, we need to work with a captain more. We need to get more confidence. We need to practice more. So our plan over the next 2 months is, first, fix all the boat problems that we have, while also surrendering to the fact that I don't totally know how we're going to pay for all of it. And just surrendering to that and understanding that no matter what comes up, we'll deal with it and it's fine. And we, Kevin and I, have been so appreciative of our time in the Bahamas, of anchoring out. And if you want to see beautiful pictures of our experience, you can go to Explorking on Instagram. That's EXPLORKING, where we share some of our pictures of our adventures. And we have a blog too. You can check those out. To be able to experience that and then come back to Florida to do boat projects, it's very clear to us both that we're not done with this life yet. And although it's really a struggle and it's expensive and it's stressful, there's just something about it that we need to experience. in order to move forward with our lives and figure out where we feel best. And I don't think that I believe rather that is a never-ending journey, and that you're always trying to figure out what makes you feel good and what resonates with you in the moment, and that's always changing. And so for us, we're going to get through these boat projects. We're probably going to be working with a captain and working on getting in and out of marinas and making sure that powerlessness feeling is transformed into feeling like we got this and we're confident and we can do this. And probably 99.9% of you watching don't live on a boat, have no plans on living on a boat. But something that I've learned about living on a boat is that it's such a raw experience of the human condition, and it can be a really great teacher. And so when I have moments like this where I've discovered things just about life, I'll be sure to share them with you either on here or on the podcast. On Wednesday episodes, I share more life stuff. And so we'll give that a whirl, and I hope that you guys benefit from these little story times. Mama Dish says, you are a blessing. I needed to hear this. I was just getting ready to give up. I'm not sure why I jumped into your live, but I did, and now I know why. I'm so happy you did. I don't think it's a matter of giving up or not. And I think that there's like this cultural belief that we either succeed or we fail. And I don't think we know whether or not we failed until way, way beyond in the future. Like, if I could look back at my 19-year-old self that had a very serious eating disorder, that had a lot of substance abuse issues, I would think that I was a complete failure. And I did think I was a complete failure. But looking back on that, I am so happy that I went through that. And I see it as a success because I wouldn't be the person I am today without that experience. And I like the person I am today. And so you don't really know whether or not the thing you're experiencing now where you feel failure is actually a failure, because you don't know what your future holds and what experiences you are having now that are going to help you in the future. Jean B. St. Pierre says, Leanne, I can relate to you and listen to you, and your podcast makes me feel so much better. Oh, I'm so glad. Well, we've lucked out with this internet, so I want to stop our video now before we get kicked off. But thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll try to do more lives as time goes on. In fact, my cookbook is launching April 9th. I can't even believe it. I'm finally getting a copy. It should be here tomorrow. And so I'll be doing a bunch of book readings from the cookbook, and my third paperback book, Keto for Women, comes out June 11th, and I'll be getting a copy of that soon. So I'm also going to be reading from Keto for Women. So be sure to watch for my lives, because I'm going to be reading from the book and answering your health questions. I'm pretty excited about it, so watch for that. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will hopefully see you soon. Okay, bye.
Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in live for this Instagram live recording that I did a while back explaining my complete mental breakdown. If you want to try to catch me live, make sure that you follow me on Instagram at Healthful Pursuit. I'm also hosting various virtual book readings throughout this month, where I'll be reading from my paperback books, the Keto Diet Cookbook and Keto for Women, plus answering your keto questions, and all that stuff's going on in Instagram. So be sure to follow me at Healthful Pursuit, and I hope to see you there live. Okay, goodbye. Thanks for listening to the Keto Diet Podcast. Join us again in a couple of days to discover more Keto for Women secrets for your fat-fueled life. The Keto Diet Podcast, including show notes and links, provides information in respect to healthy living, recipes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Keto Diet Podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without any representations or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified physician for medical advice, and always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.